Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Batman 140. This is a new book from DC Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team here as they bring us Mind Bomb Part 2, the latest arc in the Batman story. Written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Jorge Jimenez, colors by Tom Murray, and letters by Clint Cowles. We also have a backup story with Mike Hawthorne on the art duties. But let's talk about the main story for now. In this issue, Batman versus a legion of himself. It's Batman versus the Joker in their most brutal fight of all time. But wait, Batman is also battling a legion of himself. What has Surinar done, and who will walk away? The brutal mind bomb continues. So yeah, Batman's been struggling with Surinar over just kind of control of his body. Like in his mind, Batman, usually keeps him very locked up tight, but Zurinar has been making a plan, and a lot of that stuff is revealed here. We'll go through that some of that stuff when we look at the preview pages. But it is such a weird story that it's almost as if Zurinar has been taking Batman apart piece by piece to only keep the parts that he wants together. There's a really cool revelation towards the end of the issue. Yeah, there's just so much happening here. Chip Zdarsky I think he's really been nailing everything that he's been doing in the Batman run. I think some of it is pushing some of the boundaries of like, I don't know, has this been done before? But let's explore even further. So I think that's very cool. So let's take a look at some of the preview art. As you guys probably know, Jorge Jimenez is a fantastic artist. And this team is a well-oiled machine. Jimenez and Moray, like they work together a lot. And I love it. I love seeing all the other versions of Batman that have been collected throughout the multiverse as Batman was running around in the previous arc. Also, the brutality of this fight with the Joker now that he's kind of back in town after all the stuff he was doing, confronting himself as well. I haven't read the Joker Who Stopped Smiling or whatever that other book was called, but I'll definitely be checking that out because I love Matthew Rosenberg. But back to this one. Also, look at all the versions of Batman that Jimenez gets to draw and we get to see it here. I just love it. Jimenez is such a good way to like bring us stuff that looks familiar, like the 1989 Batman, of course, and then of course the Dark Knight Returns Batman, and many other iterations that you could just tell who they are, but it still looks like Jimenez style. That's a lot of fun, and yeah, this struggle is coming out physically because Batman is not in the driver's seat of his body at the moment. So of course that's going to be reflected in his fighting style. We get to see one of his teachers. If you read Batman the Night, which is a preview, like a prior story that Zdarsky wrote before starting on his run. Yeah, this book is incredible. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely throwing a lot out at the reader, but I'm all for that. I'm all for like, give me some kind of weird stuff with Batman. Yeah, especially because it's all propped up by this beautiful art. It all really works very well together. So definitely enjoying this book a lot. I don't think that this will be for everyone for sure. I think this might be like something that people don't want to go along for this ride. I completely understand that, but I'm all in for this. So hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Batman Santa Claus Silent Night #1. This is a new book from DC Comics. So let's talk about the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Jeff Parker with art by Michelle Bendini, colors by Alex Sinclair, letters by Pat Brousseau. And yes, this is a holiday storyline with Batman and Santa Claus. At first, I thought this was going to be like the holiday anthology, but this is an ongoing, well, not an ongoing, it's a miniseries for the holiday. So I'm actually pretty excited about it. So once I got to read it, I was very much well rewarded. So let me tell you a little bit about this book. In this issue, the Dark Knight partners with a not so jolly Saint Nick. Santa Claus is coming to town. The 4-part crossover event of a generation begins when Saint Nick hits Gotham City to investigate a brutal crime in the days leading up to Christmas. What manner of man or beast could have committed such atrocities? With the help of his former student, Batman, Santa will team up with the heroes of the DC universe to right his wrong, or the world wakes up with coal in their stockings. A brutal, two fisted holiday tale of hope, wonder, monster hunting is the perfect treat to ring in the holidays. It's Claus in canon. Yeah, that's right. Santa Claus is canon to the DC universe. He's been around for so long. He's got a very he's got a very intricate detail or the history with Batman, which is like as soon as I started reading this and Jeff Parker kind of brought all the dialogue back, I was like, oh my god, I forgot that this was like it went deep, which is really really cool. So yeah, this story is a great way to kick off the holidays. Now the fact that it's gonna go on into maybe like April or so, that'll be really funny to still be reading a Christmas story, but it is just so much fun to have Santa Claus teaming up with a lot of these. I really love that a lot of the members of the Bat family, including Damien, first of all, they're like, wait, Santa Claus is real, which is wild because like they have fought aliens, they know magic is real. Yeah, it's really really fun stuff. Let's take a look at some of the preview art here. Michelle Bandini and the team are just doing a fantastic job, just bringing you into the this page to set up the holiday feel, and then this big splash page, just 2 pages of like, oh yeah, this is gonna be filled with monsters and battles and a lot of like really cool stuff from the DC universe. And then comes in a lot of really cool familiar faces. I really like how Bendini draws a lot of this as they're having the dialogue. It really they the team just kind of draws Robin and Batman talking all these kind of weird poses. Robin's upside down, which is really like I just love that the conversation can continue regardless of like what they're doing. I love that they bring in Satana because of course you have a magic user, but man, things escalate very quickly in this first issue. You get to know very quickly like who the villain is gonna be. I really love. There's a really fun way that Santa Claus has a dialogue, which just all those little touches they really add up to a really fun story. So I quite enjoy this issue. I didn't know what to expect because, like I said, I thought this was going to be the anthology for the holidays, but it's not. I love the cover by Dan Mora, who's done a Claus book. So it's really good. It's really cool to see Dan Mora drawing Saint Nick again in a different form in the DC universe this time around. So hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Titans Beast World Waller Rising #1. This is a new book from DC Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team here. This book is written by Chuck Brown with art by Karen Grant, Clayton Henry, and Marcelo Maiolo, and Jerry Gaylord have variant covers. At the end of the video, you can see some of those, and we also have letters by Wes Abbott. That was a very tricky way to put the credits on the page, but I am very much on board with the Beast World event. I really enjoyed the first issue. So if you haven't read that, go check it out. We have a review for that on the channel. This will be part of that, and it really focuses on very interesting characters. You saw some of them in the cover. So let me give you a quick synopsis of this book. In this book, Batwing, Vixen, Valzod, Superman, and Black Manta must stop Dr. Hate, the Kingdom, a mystical and metaphysical realm that sits at the nexus of the parliaments. A formidable new adversary, Dr. Hate, emerges with intentions to corrupt both the kingdom and the parliament. Of the Red in pursuit of chaos, Batwing, Vixen, Valzod, Black Manta are thrust together in a desperate fight for survival. They must learn to cooperate to thwart Dr. Hate's destructive plans before the wicked entity can devastate the unique plane which represents a collective consciousness. This consciousness unifies red, green, rot, clear, melt, metal, and gray into harmonious realm of peace. In their struggle against Dr. Hate, these heroes and villains also face the task of unraveling how Amanda Waller's rise is entwined with the ongoing crisis. The saga features appearances from Nuvia, Dr. Mist, Red Tornado, Deadeye, and many, many more. Um, that was a lot. That synopsis is a lot for sure. I definitely understand that. But if you're willing to put up with a little bit of maybe some of the unknown, a little bit of things that can get a little confusing, I think you're going to get a really cool book. First of all, the book looks amazing. I'm not very familiar with Karen Grant's art, but I'm going to look for more stuff after this because it is fantastic. We'll look at a preview in a minute. Um, I really like the story here. We are kind of driven through Deadeye. Deadeye is kind of the person we're following along. And then as he goes on his mission from Waller, to first of all try to figure out what's going on, find Dr. Hate, in the meanwhile touching on upon all these heroes. So we have a very cool roster of of characters in this issue, which I really really like. So on top of that, throw in the mystery of the Parliament and everything that's going on there. The chase for Dr. Hate, who has been poking his head in and out of the DC universe in different issues. And then also on top of that, the layer of like, what the hell is Amanda Waller up to? This makes for a fantastic comic book. I really, really, I didn't know what to expect from a book like this because I just thought it was going to be like a little tie-in into the Beast World stuff. But this is kind of its own animal, pun fully intended. So let's take a look at some of the preview art. And I think this might be a little divisive. The art is very stylized, very loose, very dynamic in some parts, but to me, it works. I really love how it portrays the action, a little bit of the violence as you see this, this person that's recovering in an ambulance. We meet Deadeye in like his job, who I believe it's Amanda Waller's nephew. They mentioned that in the book. Um, which is something I didn't even remember that. So there's enough notes here, enough exposition to kind of bring you into that. And then, of course, just like I said, look at these. Like as Deadeye puts on his costume and just shoots out of the ambulance. Oh man, it looks so cool. I'm not very familiar with Deadeye, but he looks cool. His abilities as a metahuman tracker with psychic abilities, like that just really brings in a whole other layer of like something that I want to follow along with. So yeah, I didn't know what to expect from this one, and I was very pleasantly surprised. This very quickly shot up to the top of my Beast World tie-ins that I need to keep up with. So usually I'll check out an issue and determine, is this something I want to follow along month over month, or is this something that I just kind of want to maybe go back and read once the event is over? I feel like this is something that is going to run parallel to the main series. So definitely want to check that out. So hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Birds of Prey number 4, one of my favorite ongoing series at the moment at DC. Let's take a look at the credits. We have, of course, a story by Kelly Thompson with art by Leonardo Romero, colors by Jordi Belair, letters by Clayton Cowles, and some really cool covers that we'll see at the end of the video. In this issue, the Birds versus the Amazon Warriors. Chaos reigns as the first mission for the Birds of Prey, unsurprisingly, has gone sideways. Even with the collective battle prowess of her hand-picked team, did Black Canary bring enough firepower to fight all their way off of the mascara? I mean, once Diana shows up, like all bets are off the table. Uh, what a fantastic book. It's been so well paced so far. We're at issue 4, and now we are getting into like not only this big battle, but like also we're peeling back all the layers of like what was Sin captured by the Amazons, and who else is kind of pulling all these other strings? What is the group going to have to face off against later on? And all this propped up by Leonardo Romero's art that is both has a classic feel to it, but also feels very contemporary, very much updated. Beautiful colors. Um, I really like. I do want to mention Belair's coloring in this because it's all happening at night. It has like this almost neon pastel type of. It's like a mix between the two, and it's really cool. Because neon and pastels almost feel like opposite ends of the spectrum to me, as when you're talking about a color. But Belair kind of incorporates both things here, and all that on top of Romero's really cool art. Like I don't know, I really like it. I love how much. Here, let's take a look at the preview art so we can talk about it. Um, I love how efficient these panels are. There's so much happening in each one of them. Like all these fights. I love that Romero draws multiple. Sometimes we'll draw a character multiple times on the panel to show the movement. And then, of course, when Diana shows up, look at that. I love like Diana with a giant head of hair, like George Perez used to do. I love that. It's a great look for this fierce warrior. I love the looks in their faces when they're like, "Oh shit, we fucked up. We got to get out of here." Um, and this just all the little things, the little touches of like, of course, Diana would go off to ask Satana for help, because that's the only way you're gonna defeat an Amazon if you have some tricks up your sleeve. Big Barda shows up. Big Barda, have, of course, a long history with Wonder Woman, so really cool to see them face off. And of course, like I said, just Romero's art. It's it's super dynamic. It's super like just punchable. I love all the big sound effects. I love the little Kirby crackle all over. Like sometimes that shows up, especially when Barda is around. And then on top of that, Kelly Thompson is just so good at balancing the teams of superheroes, nailing their voices, how they would interact with each other. I specifically like, and I've mentioned this in previous reviews, the relationship between Big Barda and Cass. I don't know. I love the way she calls her little bat, and just like it's really cool and really cute. And I hope that this book goes on for a couple more arcs. I know that it feels like we're getting to the point where this is going to start wrapping up. Um, so I would hope that this team can stay together even after everything that's going on. So hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Blue Beetle #4. The Scarab War continues. So let's take a look at the credits for this issue. Of course, we have writer Josh Trujillo with art by Adrian Gutierrez, Will Quintana, and Nick Filardi on colors, and Lucas Gattoni on letters. Beautiful cover by Gutierrez and Guerrero, as well as some other variant covers that you'll be able to see at the end of the video. So yeah, the Scarab War continues. Uh, Look, there's going to be a lot of reveal in this issue. I'm not going to go into details because I don't want to spoil anything. I want you guys to read the book. But let me give you a quick synopsis here. In this issue, the Blood Scarab meets Jaime Reyes. Things start to come together after Jaime's recent trip to the tomb of the pharaoh Ka-F Re, as we saw in the last issue. The place where Dan Garrett originally found Kaji, the beetle, the scarab. So, what does the blood scarab need Kaji for, and what does this mean for Jaime Reyes? Uh, this has been such a fun story of like Jaime trying to balance out dealing with what happened to Ted at the beginning of the book, dealing with all the other people that he has to mentor, that he has to help. There's a lot of responsibility on Jaime's shoulder. And on top of that, we have this new scarab that looks to be out for blood. And Jaime is just trying to do his best to keep it together. Luckily, he has a great support team that, the creative team has given him, and the community that he's kind of built around them. This book is definitely a lot about that, but it's also a lot about just really fun superhero shenanigans. Seeing Victoria Court is really fun. I think she's a great addition to. I don't think she's the main. She's really not the villain of the story. As she's not as antagonistic as Victoria Court was in the film, but she's definitely not somebody that is rooting for the Blue Beetle to succeed, and also has a very interesting relationship with Jaime. But I love it. I love seeing all that. It's incredible to me how the team manages to just pack all that stuff in these 22 pages of an issue, all that, including the beautiful art, which like Gutierrez and the coloring team are just knocking it out of the park. I love this, how ridiculous and ludicrous is that Victoria Court would have a flamethrower in her office. But of course she would. And just she's got a great look, a big sense of fashion. I love that. Uh, Definitely bringing a lot of the Susan Sarandon. I think Susan Sarandon was great in the film, and I think a lot of that energy is being carried on to the book, which I really appreciate. It makes it easier for I think when movie watchers are transitioning on to reading comics, it makes it easier. I think, and then of course we see. I love Jaime's look. I love how long his hair is, which is weird to say, but I just think it's all those little details that really make this feel like a fresh new story and a fresh new take. And like I mentioned, Jaime's dealing with a lot, but he's got a lot of people around him to help. And yeah, there's really cool revelations in this issue. Some really interesting um, conversations between Jaime and the people that are around him trying to help. And also, there's just people that depend on Jaime, and that's kind of like all this is the struggle that he's going through. And I really love to see how he's handling it. I think Jaime has grown so much in the last two series that while Trujillo's been at the helm. So I hope a lot of this progress. First of all, I hope Trujillo keeps making this book after this arc is over, or at least sticks around with Jaime. But I also hope that a lot of this growth sticks around in the canon, because it's very, very cool. All these additions that they're adding to the world of the Blue Beetle, and I think they really have something special going on, and I would hate to lose any of that stuff to continuity in the future. So if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Remember, also, this book ships in both English and Spanish, which is really cool. I really love that DC is doing stuff like that. So if you pick up the Spanish version, let me know. I haven't read the Spanish version. Where I'm very lucky that DC sends me both versions of the book. But I read it in English first, just to make the videos and present that, and then I go back and read it in Spanish, just to see if there's little subtle changes. So very fun stuff. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here on the channel. Also, we just recently had a full stream about the Blue Beetle movie. So if you're watching this video and you maybe want more Blue Beetle content, I'll link that in the description. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.